and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Hello and welcome to The Ticket Stub, your favorite place for movie news and reviews. The Ticket Stub drops every Thursday on all podcast platforms and Thursday at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 from beautiful downtown Conroe, Texas. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. The Ticket Stub is sponsored by the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas. Visit irlonestar.com for information about the show and sponsorships, or drop us a line at 936-647-3776. Also, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on any platform you happen to be listening to us on. I'm Chris Appel. Connor is out, but we have the legendary Sean K. Thompson in with us again today, so we're excited to have him. How you doing, Sean?
I'm all right. Thank you for that awesome intro, man. I need to live
I
up
say
to
it every time now. I say
legendary
every time.
I will change my name to such.
We also have Dick.
What's up?
He's here. He's always here.
And Dick.
We've never had a show without you, I don't think.
Yeah, because I'm the only one that knows how to do everything.
Well, that would be the reason, but that's good.
Yeah.
Just
You've
buttons.
made every
How
show.
hard can it be?
He's made every show.
He has.
That's really good. Really.
What's
really
going
good.
on, guys? You
Well,
ready
thanks for having me on.
Let's
I
talk
appreciate
about
it.
movies and stuff.
let's-
This is the Ticket Stub.
Let's talk about movies.
No TV shows.
There isn't any TV.
no
this week.
TV show.
There's
no,
none.
No live theater plays either. No, any form.
Nothing.
No webisodes. No webisodes at all. I mean, this is great, guys. Isn't this great? Just movies.
It's just movies.
The Ticket Stub.
Yeah. Well, we got a jam-packed show today.
We do.
We do. We've got movie news. We're going to rewind the movies we watched last week. Then we're going to play a game of plot summary, which a couple of times ago when you were here, Sean, we ran out of time. And I was excited because I wanted to play that game with you. But that's the game where we each give each other an actor, a place, and a title for a movie. And the other guy's got to come up with what the plot summary is. So that should be something to look forward to at the end of the show. So we're going to jump right in here with movie news. So, ScreenRant.com is reporting that Kristen Stewart wants to play a gay superhero. I guess instead of a regular one.
What's the
one in particular, or she just says, give me a gay one?
Is it a superpower?
a superpower?
She's got to be acting out her gay to get stronger.
Well, that was my question. Why does the character have to be gay?
Are straight
No, there's no
people-
particular one.
She just like, I just want
No,
to...
straight people are the kryptonite.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's not bad.
A messy apartment is kryptonite. Wow. I mean, if she said, I want to be Batwoman, I'd go for it because, Batwoman's gay.
Could have been.
But for her to say, I want a gay character,
Yeah.
and I don't care, make one up for me, I don't care. That's kind of odd. I think she's just jealous because, Robert Pattinson is glittering his ways into the new Batman.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
I mean, there's nothing wrong.
If he can be a superhero, I can be a superhero.
I don't understand why. I mean, Superman, yes, he's in a relationship with Lois Lane, but they don't really rub it in your face or anything. And Batman's got, random chicks throughout
Promoting
the
the
movies.
straight agenda, you mean?
Right. Why does the character have to have a sexuality? I mean, can't it just be a superhero and
That's what I'm saying.
That be
That's
it?
what I was asking. Is it like a superpower thing? Because to me, it's really odd unless it drives the story, which makes sense. Like in the Birds of Prey movie, I bet you they're going to hit it because it's a movie about, a legion of women together. But again, it's like, is it telling the story? Is it part of the motivation for characters, or is it just like kind of like they did in the Marvel movie? What was that movie? That recent one, the Infinity War, but the sequel or the
Endgame.
The Endgame, where they had that forced moment where it was all the female superheroes and together, and you're like, what are the chances of that happening on a giant battlefield, like going across acres and acres and acres of land, and it's like every single female character is at one little thing. Don't believe it.
Was Wonder Woman gay?
No.
She could have been, whatever.
No,
But-
I
but-
mean, does it
No,
matter?
but she didn't have any. No, she did have a love interest.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
What's his name?
Batman.
Steve.
No, it was
Batman in the comic, they had a love interest.
Oh, Chris Pine though. I think in the movie.
Yeah, well, that was part of the.
Yeah, the Wonder Woman. Yeah,
What's his name?
Steve
Rogers.
Not Steve Rogers.
I think you're right, Captain Rogers,
No, it's Steve Taylor, I think.
or something like that. One of those things. But again,
But
some
even that
characters.
was pretty chaste.
Well, because I was reading about Birds of Prey, and they were talking about the main villain is I just went blank. The guy who wears the steel mask. But they're talking about
Dr. Doom?
No, that's another comic. But he's going to be gay, and I'm like, well, he doesn't really need to be anything. He's the villain. Like he just needs to be bad.
Yeah.
And they're making a point of like, oh, he's going to have a love interest. And I was like, that's such a strange way of like telling me something that has nothing to do with the movie. Where it's kind of like the Beauty and the Beast remake when they made that a point.
Oh, to have Fausch or
whatever. Yeah, and I was like, well, what does it
Le-
matter?
Lefleet.
Yeah, like what does it matter? And
It's okay to have representation. And again, if I feel
well,
Kristen
when you say
Stewart hits-
representation, do you mean when you're writing a movie, you like, hey, we got 15 characters, you just want to roll the dice on each one, and like
No.
like 1 and 2 represent straight, 3 and 4 represents gay, and then 5 and 6 represents bi. So
think
it's
when
like,
you-
all right, that guy's bi, that bi.
Well, I think when you do that, I think you're doing a disservice to the story. I think you
Well,
should
that's what I'm
write the
saying.
story.
When you're writing it, and it's like, and then of course you're gonna have that one producer. Let's spice it up a little bit. Let's make the corner store clerk gay. Well, how are we gonna do that? Well, we gotta have him making out with the dude.
Well, what I meant by representation is that there have been decades upon decades of quashing any notion of a gay superhero. Like, that's why they had to bring in Batgirl was actually written for the TV series in the 60s before she got in the comics because
No one wanted a woman on TV.
no, because
the movie?
because
The
the
Ticket
word was
Stub?
going around that they were promoting the gay agenda to have Adam West and Burt Ward
That's strange.
living together. That's why they had Aunt Matilda, Aunt Margaret, what was her name, in Wayne Manor, because it was all guys, and they're like people are going to think they're gay, so they had to actually introduce women.
That's
So
weird.
after decades of squashing that, to have a representation to say this character could be gay, yeah, may as well make him gay.
Yeah, but see what happens though when you're writing a story about character development, when you say that kind of thing, which to me there's no issue of saying that, but then it's like, well, how do we let people know? And I'm like, well, you're just naturally through the story. Like if he encounters an interest, go for it. But like, I hate it when, especially when, even if it's gay, straight, or whatever, they like force it over your head. Like this is what he is. And I'm like, we know that. Like it's kind of like James Bond. You kind of go in knowing he's a womanizer and all this kind of stuff. You don't need to have him sleeping with 10 women in the story to remind me. Maybe 1 or 2 just to be part of the plot, because that's usually how it opens.
In the old days, he did sleep with 10. Now he's down to 1 per
1 or
movie,
2. Well, there's
yeah.
always that one that's the sad sympathy one where like
Right.
like, oh, she wasn't involved, but she's collateral damage. And then of course the other
Gets
one
killed.
is
The
the
one that lives
scientist
to the end.
is the nuclear scientist who knows how to save the day. Duh, and has a great name. But
Christmas Jones.
yeah, but
That was Denise Richardson.
I mean, of
Rolls Not
course.
Enough, yeah.
But no, I think it's weird to me that that's the first thing you would write on a headline, besides only writing it to get the headline, if that makes sense. Because a lot of folks who are producing these films are putting feelers out, and it's like Kristen Stewart's like, you know what, I'm going to control the narrative. I don't have a role yet, but if you're going to offer me a superhero role, she's got to be a lesbian, folks.
If I
And-
may, it tells you what kind of actor it is when an actor has to tweet or go out there to
Yeah.
a press conference and say, "Hey, if anyone needs this role filled, then you're not that good of an actor." They come looking for you. They
Yeah,
come.
and
to
maybe
you saying,
maybe that's how she's making her money.
That's what I've been doing wrong.
Yeah, you need to go out. You need to go out there and say you want to play the creepo clown, whatever, but not from it.
Okay.
Is it John? Is it Gacy? What's that? What's
John
that?
Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, that wouldn't
isn't he
be
the
bad,
creepy
yeah.
clown guy?
Yeah.
John Wayne Gacy.
Is he the creepy clown guy?
I mean, in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought no. It's like no. His name's Pennywise. Sorry, I had to.
No, he can't
shift
be
gears.
Pennywise. He
Sorry.
doesn't want to be. He has selection of this. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. What kind of movie do you think she's going to be in? Did she even say?
A bad one.
No, she didn't say.
Yeah, who cares?
But she said
what's
she
the next
wants
story?
to.
What's
Yeah,
the next story?
there
All
is
right.
no movie.
This is boring.
This is boring. The next story is from cinemablend.com, and they put out a list of all the biggest movies that are left in 2019.
Ooh, cool.
Because we're in September, so there's only
Some
4
big
months
heavy
left.
Oscar hitters are coming, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But they've got the Goldfinch. I don't know what that is. Downton Abbey made a movie,
Mm-hmm.
and we're getting that next
Oh,
week.
that's a movie, guys. That's not a TV series.
Yeah, it is a movie now, so
It's
we
a
can
movie
talk
of a
about
TV
it.
Yeah,
series.
that's,
Yeah.
that qualifies for the ticket stub.
Exactly. Ad Astra, that's that new Brad Pitt movie coming out. Rambo,
Tommy
Last
Lee
Blood.
Jones. What a great cast right there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Joker, Gemini Man, The Addams Family.
Oh, they're redoing Gemini Man.
Yeah, with Will Smith and Ang Lee, I think.
It looks
Okay.
so bad.
It's from a 70s movie.
Yeah, it looks so bad, dude.
Got Maleficent, the new one, sequel to Zombieland, Doctor Sleep, which is a sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
Terminator. I didn't even know there was another Terminator coming out, but there
Duh.
is.
Yeah, the one with
didn't hear about this?
65-year-old Linda Hamilton. My
Yeah,
God.
yeah, James Cameron's like producing. Is he
Oh,
directing
really?
it too?
Yeah, it's pretending that anything after 2 never happened.
But is he directing it? I don't think he's directing
He's
it.
producing it.
We're to take it sub where we know half of things.
Right.
Yeah.
About movies.
We get The Irishman. That looks good. Al Pacino and Robert De Niro.
I feel like that movie has been being made for 5 years.
yeah, I think it has.
And then it's like,
I can't watch that one. I've got my fill on Heat with them. After that, anything is just a bad copy.
one thing I'm interested in, and this is like peak of everybody involved in the movie. You got peak Martin Scorsese, meaning like he doesn't have anything to prove. So he's just going to make whatever he wants. And then you got peak Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, where, again, they're past it in the sense of they've proved themselves. And so everyone's going to watch this movie and think of all those great things they've done. And it's like, oh, is this what the end result is? Is it going to be The Irishman? And the movie's going to suck. And
That's
it's like,
why I'm saying
yeah,
with
that's
the
what I'm
Heat-
saying.
with
Like,
Heat.
that's what's going to happen. It's like, oh, this is kind of weird. But Joe Pesci's really good in it because he's really good in everything.
Yeah. Well, he is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the one thing I can walk.
Yeah.
But that's what's going to end up happening because Robert De Niro he picks the most random movies for the past 10 years. So you forget how he's a good actor in the sense like you don't see him anything good to remind yourself unless you go to the VHS store and watch VHS movies of his movies. But then like Joe Pesci, every time he's in a movie, it's like, oh, I really enjoyed that guy. He's really good. Does that make sense to y'all? I know that sounds kind of odd, but like, he was on the roast of Alec Baldwin. Robert De Niro was on Comedy Central, and I was like, this guy's like an Oscar. Like, what's he doing here? Why is he on the roast on Comedy Central? But there he is. He got paid, I guess.
Yep.
Well, here you go. Kristen Stewart is going to be in Charlie's Angels. So that's kind of super.
Well, she'll probably get her
dear God.
fill on all that kind of.
They are redoing. Charlie's Angels.
It's directed by the Banks woman,
Elizabeth Banks. Yeah. That's an
And-
interesting choice.
Well,
So are they gonna go-
I think it's her big budget directorial debut.
Is it going to be a pure spoof?
I think she did that movie with the two girls, coming of age movie.
No, that
came out
was
this
that was
year.
Olivia Wilde.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Well, what's funny is the only way to comment on remaking the Angels movie is it kind of like I don't think the stories are molded by uniqueness. I think the stories are molded by what the movie culture is currently making. For example, remember when Taken came out and then like Born Identity, where all that fast camera shaking kind of cinematography was introduced, and then all of a sudden karate fighting became the same thing. So they made like 15 karate movies, but with the same like Sean Penn, Liam Neeson. They all made the same movie. They just had this older male beating up people with really cool moves, and then it's like peak of it was like John Wick, and then it's like so we were making Charlie's Angels, but it's gonna probably fit that mold, not the old
Well, is it going to be another
mold.
spoof, or is it going to be serious? With Elizabeth Banks, I think it'll be a spoof.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
Probably.
today's action movies, they have to have a serious tone to it. They can't have the fun, one-liners kind of thing.
Let me get through the rest of this list here. Frozen 2, that's going to be huge.
You're never going to get through this list. If
Yeah,
we're
it's
talking
like
about
2
it.
seconds. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. That's the
Tom Hanks
Yep.
as
Uh-huh.
Mr. Rogers.
Yep. Jumanji, Star Wars, and Cats. So that's the list. So is there anything you guys are looking forward to?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah, I'm ready for people to start burning their DVDs.
I want to see how they redeem themselves from the last
They
one.
won't.
I think they will.
Was the last one not good? I didn't see it.
That
No, it sucked.
squandered opportunities.
They all sucked. Even episode 1, 2, and 3 made it look bad.
No way.
Like, yeah, it's horrible.
To me,
Really?
the screenplay felt like it was written by a film student, like a 19-year-old. I want to do a Star Wars movie. There's a big
yeah.
reveal at the end where, the concept of what's called Chekhov's rifle. If you show a rifle hanging on the wall in the first part, then you have to use it in the second part. There's a bit where they're on this planet with white sand everywhere, and every footprint turns it red. And so that becomes this big thing. And then you notice after a while, Luke's not leaving footprints. It's,
Yeah.
and you get it like 4 seconds into it, but they keep on going back to it to drive it home just in case this is not. Is this really Luke? You know, it was.
Well, one thing I think they
poorly
failed
written.
with it is they didn't. If you think about the Luke, the father thing, when you find out Darth Vader is the father, that was a big twist.
Yeah.
And for some reason, people didn't see it coming because it didn't really make those hints. It didn't make, like, you weren't anticipating
Well, it
that
wasn't
kind of.
planned to be that way. Lee Brackett came
Well,
up with that.
as I'm saying, like the way it was shot, you're like, who cares? But then you're like, well, actually, that's really big. Like it wasn't like part of the story. It wasn't like the history of this family, you know, fighting throughout the ages. It's like, no, this is really random. But then again, it got more personal. And for this one, they needed that, but they needed to write it so well that where when you watch the second new one, you're like, oh, whoa, that's cool. But there isn't. I didn't really feel the wow factor in the newest Star Wars movies.
No, because
it was more bickering in my mind.
Luke
going,
was
it sucked.
set as a person who, you know, when Darth Vader blows up an entire planet, he's like, there's still good in him. I can feel it. I'm going to sacrifice myself to get Dad. But in the most recent movie, the first hint of a whiff of a scintilla of Han and
Kylo
Leia's kid
Ren.
being bad, he decides to cut him in half with a lightsaber. You know, stands over his bed with the lightsaber and says, I'm going to kill him.
Oh, he's been drinking that milk juice.
Yeah. And then he's like, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to leave. And this is Luke. This is the adventure. This was the reluctant hero who's
Yeah.
supposed to hop into it. And he can't even leave his own little hut for the whole movie.
It was just poorly
But
written.
poorly written. So I think they'll redeem themselves in the last one.
No, it sucked. Jumanji, though, would be totally cool.
Probably. I'm looking forward to Doctor Sleep and A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I think Tom Hanks. I think this might be his year for.
He's gonna
Oscar
it's gonna be a
time.
supporting cast. He's not gonna get it. He's not the lead actor in the movie.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
He's not.
No. I read about it
How is he not the lead actor?
because it's about the journalist interviewing him.
Oh,
So the whole story is about him, about his personal life and the struggles, and then it kind of revolves around how he's during that time of his life he's interviewing and doing a piece on Mr. Rogers.
okay.
And how Mr. Rogers and their relationship started and how he helped him. So it's
I'm very much looking forward to that one.
Yeah,
and
me
Doctor
too.
Sleep, presuming they follow the book and not the Stanley Kubrick film version,
Oh yeah.
because he made some substantial changes.
We'll pull up this Joker trailer.
Okay.
'cause
Okay.
this
Sean's
is-
gonna love
This
this.
is one of the this is one of the ones coming out. But basically, this last story is that Joker, the box office projections are among the highest for R-rated films. So they're projecting it to do between 85 and 105 million opening week, which is really good for an R-rated movie. It's not the best, but I mean, certainly. Do you guys think it could do that? Well, let's watch the trailer, and then you decide.
Okay.
It takes some time. Just relax.
Can you please stop bothering my kid?
Sorry.
Arthur, I have some bad news for you. This is the last time we'll be meeting.
You don't listen, do you? You just ask the same questions every week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts.
And finally, in a world where everyone thinks they can do my job, check out this guy.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed at me. Well, no one's laughing now.
You can say that again, pal.
It's so awful, isn't it?
For my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do. And people are starting to notice.
Think this is funny? Is this a joke to you?
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Yeah.
Now,
Now what?
Now, you remember last show, I went on and on about Heath Ledger and how
Yeah.
I didn't think it'd be topped. His performance would ever be topped. I might have to eat my words on that. I'm really curious to see this movie.
Well, that's one thing I think a lot of folks out there have, like the tickets of opinions. Just wait till you see it because there's so much speculation about this movie. Like I was reading that there might not even be Batman in it. Like there's not Batman ever. Like this isn't a world with superheroes. This isn't the Gotham that we literally have been known since it was created. This sounds like, they made it sound like it's just an individual who just went crazy. And it just happened to be a Joker themed kind of thing. So to me, that blows my mind because like the whole idea I loved about Joker was he's the counter to Batman.
Yeah.
Like he was the best nemesis for Batman. And so that's what brought him to the next level. Now it's just like, oh, I'm just watching a dude lose his mind and creating a movement. Cool.
Yeah, they could have named this Falling Down Part 2.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if that's true or not. And I think there's a lot of speculation going on with the movie.
But even so, let's say Batman has a cameo at the end, and it's much like I'll just quickly reference the TV series Gotham. My mother loved it because it was an awesome police procedural till I fatefully opened my mouth and said that kid is going to grow up to be Batman one day. Never mind. But it literally, until the very last scene of Gotham, the very last thing, the very last episode, there was no Batman, and it worked. But then it got chintzy. Batman walked up. I cannot be more disinterested in this Joker film for numerous reasons. One, DC, I feel, keeps messing with the pooch for reboot. You know, that's why Marvel's been kicking butt. You've got the same Ant-Man. You've got the same Iron Man. You got... once they figured out Spider-Man and introduced him into the MCU, then you had the same. You don't reboot every 2 or 3 years. So with Joker, we had Heath Ledger. Now with this one, is this canon? Because Joker was created because of Batman. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that combined with, I am so not a fan of the desire by certain filmmakers to take a monster and then give him or her a backstory to forgive it. Rob Zombie did it with Michael Myers when he remade Halloween. Michael Myers was a bully kid.
Yep.
So it makes it okay for him to become a serial killer as a result. Joker, this is a guy who loses his job, loses his wife, gets beaten up, goes out. This is Michael Douglas in falling down just without the baseball bat. It's no Joker. You don't know what his history is, or because now they can't do the killing joke. If they ever wanted to do like a Joker origin story, it should have been the Killing Joke. So I'm sure.
Well, one thing though,
it will make a whole bunch of money.
To counter that argument, though, to compare it to the Marvel Comic Universe movies, I think the Marvel Comic Universe producers realized they had a huge brand on their hands, and they did it the safest way possible. There was zero controversy. If you remember, like any of the stories that were involved, it's very basic comic book action storytelling, like the basics.
But that's what comic book readers want.
But I also think that DC goes, we cannot be Marvel Comic Universe. We cannot make a safe movie. Let's make something different. And to me, I think that's cool because they're taking existing IPs and just changing it up. I mean, think about before Frank Miller did, was it The Dark Knight?
Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, imagine Batman before that, and then he just reintroduced like a whole new idea of Batman. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think with the Joker and what DC's trying to do, they're doing the same thing. Where they're gonna keep making and just trying something different.
But they're currently trying to make current Joker movies. So unless Joaquin Phoenix, and I personally just think this film is him just playing himself with makeup. But unless they bring him in for the next Justice League movie or two,
they probably will. I mean,
no, because Jared Leto will have a problem with that because they're doing the new Suicide Squad movie.
What they could do is, I mean, look. Okay, we literally just talked about Terminator, where they created like 7 movies, and then the main creator, the first guy, goes, you know what? Didn't happen after 2. Boom.
But that's time travel. But DC did it.
I'm talking about creative rights. Like
DC
you could just
did it with
say
Superman
no.
Returns.
Where that guy doesn't exist, this guy exists, And people are going to be like, oh, man, that's crazy. All right, cool, let's watch the movie.
No, I love Superman Returns because it pretended that it was Superman 1 and 2
Well, I think
and then Superman Returns.
that was the script that was written. They wrote that intentionally. I think when, say 10 years from now, they go, hey, we want to reboot Batman. What can we do for the cast? And someone's like, man, do you know everyone really loved Joaquin Phoenix? Let's just take his Joker. And like, well, we didn't create that. Who cares? Just put him in and just say, and like you can even change up the backstory a little bit, but it's the same Joker. I mean,
Okay, just take it over to Marvel. Let's say in 3 years, we want to do a new Iron Man movie. We're going to redo his origin, and we're going to get Joaquin Phoenix to play Tony Stark. There will be revolts because
well, no,
we have
it's
our
similar
Tony
to
Stark.
be like, oh, let's get Tobey Maguire to play Spider-Man again. He'll play an older Spider-Man, you know, and then they'll be like, I bet people will be like, well, that's kind of strange, but he was Spider-Man, so it is what it is. 'Cause, I mean, if you look at the Spider-Verse movie, the cartoon, like they introduced that idea, and to me,
brilliant.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, man, the multiverse, that's really cool. So they can probably introduce that in. They kind of did it in the Endgame, where they travel back in time and there's different timelines and stuff. Well, if there's different timelines, that means there could be different superheroes. I mean, there's like if the spider could have bitten somebody else, kind of thing. Like you never.
Well,
really
Marvel
know.
created the What If series.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like you can kind of do whatever you want, and
I'm personally just. I'm sure it'll make a lot of money at the box office. Joaquin may get up for a Golden Globe award. I'm not a fan of his personally. Professional. I thought the only thing he was good in was Signs.
He was good.
apparently the Master is really good.
So
Paul Thomas
that's it for
Anderson,
me.
The Master. Have you seen that?
No.
Nobody else seen that? I heard it's really good.
Okay.
For his performance.
Well, this movie does have a very Christopher Nolan vibe with it, so I'm looking forward to it. But we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to rewind the movies we saw last week, and then we're going to play a game of plot summary. Stick with us on the Ticket Stub.
Let's begin now.
Stub is sponsored by the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas.
With 18 locations around the country, the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas bring you the latest in state-of-the-art projection and sound.
Including Fathom Events and Flashback Cinema.
Did you know your local Grand or Amstar Cinema serves a wide variety of adult beverages?
And some even have a full bar.
And moms, they didn't forget about you. They also have a large selection of wine to help you get through those kids' movies.
Visit your local Grand or Amstar Cinema today.
What can the Better Living for Texans program do for you? You can learn how to increase your consumption of fruits and vegetables, choose foods that are relatively inexpensive and good to eat, make your food dollars last longer, prepare quick, nutritious meals, help your children learn how to eat healthier snacks, and much more. Our program is committed to helping people like you improve your health through providing research-based nutrition education in a friendly, cost-free, and relaxed environment. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
A Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question or comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station at irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
We have the safest food supply in the world. Strict laws and regulations restrict the usage of hormones, antibiotics, and pesticides within our food supply. Production agriculture practices and technologies such as the use of GMOs, which is not any more or less risky than conventional crop production, has allowed American farmers to produce more food on less acres in environmentally sound ways. Find out more online at pathtotheplate.tamu.edu. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make lives better.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your questions. Get seen on TV, YouTube, and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Support your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Is there someone you know who is hooked on vintage aircraft? Follow the Commemorative Air Force and its fleet of World War II planes, including the mighty B-17 Flying Fortress Texas Raiders, which is based in Conroe, Texas. Texas Raiders tours locally and all around the United States, offering the public a chance to put their hands on aviation history. What could be a more perfect gift than a flight on a historic B-17? Taking to the sky on the iconic bomber is an experience that will never be forgotten. For the touring schedule, reservations, or more information, go to b17texasraiders.org or call 855-FLY-A-B-17.
I guess.
Let's begin now.
Hey, welcome back
Welcome
to the
back to the ticket stub. I'm sorry, there was so much fidgeting I had to do before we get started.
You got those ticks. He's one of those people.
Yeah. Welcome back to the ticket stub. Last segment, we had some movie news. Lots of interesting things there. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at @the_ticket stub and on Facebook at the Ticket Stub Podcast. You can also watch this live on Facebook if you follow the Ticket Stub Podcast every Thursday at 12 p.m. or irlonestar.com. All right. So it's rewind time where we rewind the movies we watched last week. So, Sean, you're our guest, so I will allow you to go first.
Oh, why, thank you. I appreciate that. So, for you video people and watching us streaming, I'll hold up the case. Typically, I do a bad 70s monster movie or sci-fi
that
movie.
camera. There
There we go. This one is quite the opposite. It's a 1993 comedy adventure called Undercover Blues.
Oh,
starring
yes.
Kathleen Turner and Dennis Quaid, both in their primes, their individual and couples primes. This movie is also noted for being Dave Chappelle's screen debut.
Okay.
I was inspired by watching the Netflix show the other day with Chappelle and made me think of Undercover Blues. He has a small role. You also get Stanley Tucci with all of his real hair and a whole bunch of actors that you know you've seen somewhere. Richard Jenkins, Fiona Shaw, they show up everywhere. It is a movie where you can just tell they had a lot of fun making it. It's completely set in New Orleans in the French Quarter, shot on location. Dennis Quaid and Kathleen Turner play a married couple, Jane and Jefferson Blue, and they're spies for an unnamed agency that they're on maternity leave because they just had a baby. They're vacationing for a month in New Orleans, and Fiona Shaw plays a Yugoslavian former general who has biological weapons that they have to get. It's a lot of comedy. They have to keep bringing the baby into dangerous situations, but this is a movie where no one gets killed. This is like the Rankin Bass Hobbit where, no one dies. They just spin around. It's like an episode of George of the Jungle, where no one's not going to have a bad ending. And it's a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun making it, just joke after joke after joke. You can buy the DVD on Amazon for about $30, but I say it's worth every penny, and you may be able to stream it somewhere. But that's
I'm going to have to
rewind.
check that out.
Show it again?
Sure. Borrow it and bring it back when you want it.
Yes, yeah, awesome. I want to say I did see this a lot. Oh, Tom Arnold, I'm in.
Oh, yeah, Tom
I love
Arnold.
Tom Arnold. Love Tom Arnold for some reason. I like weird stuff like that.
I love his characters. I'm not a fan of him as an actor,
Yeah,
but between True Lies and Undercover Blues,
Oh, yeah.
he nails the roles.
he's really great. Really great. So you definitely recommend this then?
I absolutely recommend this movie. It is just so fun. You turn your brain off, and for an hour and a half or 2 hours, you just watch Kathleen Turner looking really good and kicking booty, and Dennis Quaid just being Dennis Quaid with free reign, and with
All
New
right.
Orleans.
Awesome. Well, I saw Child's Play, the new one that came out this year. Child's Play,
Okay.
2019. It stars Aubrey Plaza, Mark Hamill as Chucky, and and Tim Matheson. So the plot is a mother gives her 13-year-old son a toy doll for his birthday, as you do with the 13-year-old boy. The kid was much older. Unaware of its more sinister nature, he also kills people that disobey Andy. Andy is the name of the kid. I took that synopsis off of IMDb. It's so like vague.
Andy, like the kid in Toy Story?
Yeah,
Full circle.
kinda.
Full
Yeah,
circle.
It's got 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's rapid fire movie review time. Peter Travers from Rolling Stone, even Aubrey Plaza, and the voice of Luke Skywalker, okay, it's Mark Hamill, as Devil Doll Chucky can't save this botched reboot. James Bernard Norelli, that's quite a name, from Real Reviews. Also, although Child's Play is only 90 minutes long, it's one of those movies where you check your watch so often you think it has stopped. And Eric D. Snyder from ericdsnyder.com, popular website, I'm sure. One of those movies where they threw a lot of things at the walls, then dumped everything into theaters without waiting to see what would stick. Okay, now, I went into this thinking that I would hate it because I adore the original movie and all the subsequent...
You adore all that kind of stuff.
I do, and all its subsequent sequels. However, they changed so much about this movie. Well, I'm going to get into it because I wrote it down.
Oh.
So, yeah. They changed quite a bit. They didn't copy the original. Chucky's origin is completely different.
He's a transgender doll?
He could be. You don't know. You really don't know. He's
a Cabbage Patch Kid. That's the twist at the end. What?
He certainly
He's a
could.
defected cabbage. That's what, they throw him out.
Yeah,
in the trash. That's where his hatred comes from.
Well, it's a disgruntled computer programmer makes him evil, basically, which is much more believable than like a serial killer's spirit getting stuck inside of him.
Really? You think that's believable?
Yeah, I go for the serial killer.
Yeah,
any
that's
day.
more fun.
Yeah. There's odd moments in this movie, like there's a couple of kids standing outside in the rain, and the mom is kind of upset that the kid doesn't have any friends, and she's like, and this is at night, and she's like, you need to go outside there and try to make friends with those kids, and it's like pouring down rain, and it's in the dark, and she's like, or I'm not going to give you your phone back.
Let's be real. The mom just wanted the kid out of the house, not because of making friends. Like, I'm so sick of this kid. I mean, it's either he goes outside or I go outside and play with the kids. Someone's going outside.
I guess, but anyway, at night in the rain. Okay, but anyway, and the maintenance guy, he somehow has like cameras in like all the tenants' showers, like in their apartment, in the apartment complex. So that's pretty.
Well, I mean,
weird.
you know, everyone who owns an apartment complex has cameras everywhere in everyone's room.
They might. I don't know. I hope
Was
they
that
don't.
movie Sliver with the Baldwin kid, Billy Baldwin? Or yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
They went with practical effects with Chucky, which I was like super happy with because I was worried they were going to like CGI him all up and it wouldn't be believable, but it was a puppet the whole time. And I got to give a shout out to the guys that did that because it was so expressive as a puppet. It was so good. The animatronics were great.
Here, keep talking. I'm going to get a ladybug off of you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, there we go. He's
Oh,
getting
nice.
it. Oh.
Oh, there we go.
They're good luck.
Mark Hamill as Chucky. I thought it would take me a lot because Brad Dourif is the other actor that did Chucky in all the other movies.
He's a great actor.
He is a
That
great
dude's
actor.
great.
And I thought, like, man, I'm never going to get used to this. It's so different that you believe it right away. And Mark Hamill's great as Chucky, and he's a great voice actor.
Yeah, that's where he's found a
He's
good
the
niche.
best Joker.
Yeah, he really is. Great.
Better than that
Great
Heath
voice
Ledger guy wannabe.
Yeah. So it didn't leave me wanting for Brad Dourif, which I was surprised about. But it has like, the usual kills. There's nothing spectacular. It's a pretty funny scene where Chucky's strangling a cat, which I thought was funny. I don't think it's meant to be funny, but it came off as
Okay, I'd
as
watch
kinda
it
funny.
for that. I hate cats. So.
But other than that, there's no humor in this whatsoever. And the
Oh.
original did that so well, the humor. And there's no scares at all. It's not scary. And that's something the original did really well too, where Chucky finally kind of turns and becomes alive. And he's trying to kill the mom. That is very scary. None of that really happens in this movie. So, but I think overall I'm impressed with this movie, not because it's a great movie, but because it's so different that they didn't just like do a shot for shot remake of the original, and the origin is different and the characters are somewhat different. I think they did a good job. So I'm going to give it about a 7 out of 10 for me.
Okay. Which you can stream it, right?
Yeah, I streamed it on Amazon.com.
Paid for it, or is it?
I had to buy it because it's not rentable yet, so I did purchase it.
Fair enough, man. All right. So that's Chucky the reboot.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm never gonna watch it, so I'm not a scary movie guy. So either.
Well, then you should watch it. Apparently, it's not scary.
Yeah, true that. I watched the 2019 comedy drama Late Night, guys. That's what I watched, and you can stream it right now on Amazon. It's an Amazon original movie. It was directed by Nisha Gantra. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Nisha. She has directed other movies and been a part of other things like the movie Transparent, old school movies that were like made for TV and all that kind of stuff. It was starring Emma Thompson, Mindy Kaling, John Lithgow, Hugh Dancy, and a bunch of other no-name, really. And the plot is a late-night talk show host suspects that she may soon lose her long-running show. The movie, and I think Sean would appreciate it. I wish Sean would watch this movie. I encourage you to, because of they couldn't decide who was the main character in the story because basically Emma Thompson has been a comedian slash late night host for like 30 years or something like that, and she's being replaced. And they hired Mindy Kaling as a diversity hire, and also knowing that this is the last year, so they don't really care. They just gave her the job basically.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for the screenwriter, they were trying to do as much politically correct stuff, and they even made fun of it. They even made fun of her being like, for example, there's a great moment between Leah Thompson's character and the Mindy Kaling, because she's a writer for the show now, and she talks about, you're a diversity hire, get over it, prove yourself. Like, this is an opportunity. Most people just, who cares how you got it, just take advantage of it, kind of thing. And I think that's a strong message for a lot of people because there's a lot of things going on in our world, and we're constantly changing. So it's like, hey, you're here, go for it. Like, and this is her dream job. So who cares if you're a diversity hire? Who cares if they all judge you? Like, be a good writer, and that'll come out. And I like that a lot because you know how a lot of PC people are going around. But the problem with this, the movie suffered from not having one direction and keep going because the depths of each character were very limited because they try to do screen time for everyone, have little stories for everyone, and and like it's just, to me, it was a miss because if you're trying to do a movie about a young person having accomplishing their dream, becoming a writer, becoming a comedian, and then you also you can tell that Emma Thompson either said, hey, I need more screen time, or this movie's about me, so it has to end with me. And you could tell that because you're kind of diverted to her. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Is that about her, or is it about Mindy Kaling's character? Because none of it really ended on a good note. It was just kind of like, it ended. Okay. So I would, if you're Amazon Prime member, Late Night, it's available to stream. It's okay.
Paid stream or free stream?
It's part of the page. If you're part of a Prime member,
then I'll watch it. I wouldn't be inspired to spend money on this only because I feel that I would have watched this movie back in the 90s when it was called The Devil Wears Prada. And the whole diversity hire thing back in about 2008, 2009, so 10 years ago, there was an Aaron Sorkin TV show called Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, and that was a major thing where this black comedian is hired and told, listen, we need a black voice on this show, be the black voice, so because there's a whole bunch of white writers in there. And so I like the concept of it. You are a diversity hire, or you are the pity date and get over it and seize it and run with it. But I don't see anything really new in this movie, so I won't be inspired to spend money on it, but I'll watch it.
You could tell because it's written by actual Mindy Kaling, and I don't know if you know who Mindy Kaling is. She was in The Office.
Well, I watched the Mindy Project for years.
Yeah, so she's in the Mindy Project, and you could tell that she didn't really know how to write herself because of she was one of the characters, and you could tell that she wanted to give her some screen time, but she probably really liked. That's what I'm saying. Like she just didn't focus on, hey, this is about Mindy's character, or this is about Leah Thompson, because I think in the end it's supposed to be about Leah Thompson, but they made the other character... Emma Thompson, sorry. They made the other character, Mindy's character, so polarizing in the sense that she's a diversity hire. She's dealing with a lot. The transition, moving to New York, and all that kind of stuff. Like, why do we care about that if this is already about the late night host? So that's my word to you, Mindy. If you want to write something, just kind of stick to one of the characters being the lead character.
So is it worth our time to watch, or should we pass?
No, pass.
Okay.
Hard pass.
All right, we're going to push through to plot summary. So during the first break, we were each given an actor, a location, and a title, and we each had to come up with the summary of the plot of the film. Now, I gave Dick Robert Goulet in a rock quarry And the movie was called The Deepest Ditch. Sean, you gave me
Paul Reiser. The setting is an interdimensional portal, and the name of the movie is the final visual realization of See You Next Wednesday.
And Dick, you gave Sean
Joaquin Phoenix. The setting is a completely sane person who's played by Joaquin Phoenix. A natural disaster happens, causing the rest of the world go insane, and it's about his journey, trying to be normal and going through an insane world. Now, and it's called Normal Man, Normal Plan.
Normal Man, Normal Plan. Now we didn't get any real time. I was writing a bit during
I know we could see everyone. You weren't paying attention.
Sorry. Yes, I was paying attention, but I was also
He
writing.
was multitasking.
So to give you guys some more thought time, I will go ahead and read mine first.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, so I don't have to pay attention to you.
You don't have to pay attention.
I am, because I got to figure out what he's comes up with.
I had Paul Reiser in Interdimensional Portal. See you next Wednesday. So Paul Reiser plays a down-on-his-luck candy salesman who goes door-to-door selling tasty treats. And one door he tries to knock on, it's slightly ajar. So he goes inside, and it's an interdimensional portal that sends him to a different dimension where he is successful comedian Jerry Seinfeld. Paul realizes then that for most of his life, he had just been doing an impression of Jerry Seinfeld. So now he gets to live his dream being Jerry Seinfeld. And the title comes from a guy on the street saying, "Hey, Jerry, I'll see you next Wednesday," indicating that he had tickets for Jerry's show next Wednesday. So
there you go.
That's mine.
Not too shabby.
Not great, but not bad.
Okay. I mean,
And John Landis directs it. That's the
John Landis, yeah.
The whole See You Next Wednesday thing.
Well, cool. You want me to go next?
Yes, please.
All right. So I had Robert Goulet. Goulet takes place at a rock quarry, or the movie, and then it's called The Deepest Ditch. So this movie, the opening first 10 minutes is an old, rundown rock quarry town who clearly is past its prime. And Robert Goulet is revisiting his hometown, and he's he's old. It's his current self. And then he has a flashback. And a flashback of his character is played by Chris Evans. And you kind of discover what he went through going through the quarry town when it was in its prime. So there's a lot of comparisons with the movie, back and forth, trying to learn why is this guy returning. And, of course, at the very end, you learn why he returned to the quarry. And, it's going to have a lot of twists with family, with disasters, with tragic events, with characters, and coming of age / putting things to rest. And it's called The Deepest Ditch. Look at that! I just made
it up.
I just made the USA TV movie right there, or whoever. What's it called? Hallmark. A Hallmark special event.
Movie.
Hallmark special event TV right there. Look, I made a TV movie. We can talk about TV.
There you go. The movie of the week.
The Deepest Ditch. Or I was thinking of doing something completely opposite of that, where the rock quarry was actually a gay bar. And Robert Goulet is on the prowl searching. This is during the AIDS epidemic. And it's called The Deepest Ditch.
I kind of want to see that one.
Yeah, I like that one better.
So, you can go multiple ways.
Okay.
So, what movie do you guys want to see? Which one did you pay money for?
I paid for the second one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's a lot more opportunity. Joaquin Phoenix has got to be in that one. He's got to be like the guy, the homeless guy on the side. And no one knows it's him. The whole movie. He's not a main character.
All right.
And then I probably have Sean in the movie, and then Joaquin Phoenix would shiv him in the background and steal his money. And it says, you're nothing, you're dirt, and then he leaves.
And I get my one line, why?
Yeah, why? Why would you do this? All right, tell me about this, the Normal Man, Normal Plan movie.
Normal Man, Normal Plan movie starring Joaquin Phoenix, where he ends up being the only sane person in the world of crazy people. And if you note, I have not written out a single thing. I am making this stuff up.
Me too. That's what I did.
The fly.
We're all doing that.
Here. So here we go. So Joaquin Phoenix actually starts off as a down on his luck single dad who works at a Toys R Us store as it's in its final clearance sale. And he has no future going on whatsoever. Now, the screenplay has been written by Stephen King, partially based on his short story about they cure Alzheimer's, and then they realize that everyone takes the cure, and then it gets rid of your aggressive behavior, but then it gives you Alzheimer's. So everyone like dies off because of Alzheimer's. So Stephen King has take this as a variation of that theme. And the shtick is that everyone Joaquin Phoenix comes across is an established comedian. Weird Al Yankovic, Dave Chappelle, Jim Carrey, but in increasingly more serious roles. And then the question comes in, is this all happening in Joaquin's mind or not? And eventually there's a subplot where he discovers that the president watching on the TV is getting remarkably more and more crazy. And he needs to stop the president from unleashing nuclear Armageddon on the world. So he races to New York, meeting up with Jeff Goldblum, who drives him in a resurgence of his character
From Independence Day.
From Independence Day,
Yes.
right. He makes it to the White House in time to see the missiles flying. He's just 1 second too late. So he races to the bunker, locks the door by himself, and you get your final scene where he's just 10, 9, 8, 7, and there's a slow fade to black.
Nice. I'd pay to see that.
And there's a loud boom at the end.
Well, there's a...
There you go. That was pretty good.
Thank you.
I think you won.
I'd see it.
He definitely won.
Yeah, because, Joaquin Phoenix sure shooing for the Oscar on that one.
Well, you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, people are just going to see my movie because Chris Evans is in it. Captain America. Formerly Captain America.
I don't think anybody's going to watch Paul Reiser do an impression of Jerry Seinfeld. Maybe.
I'm very happy Paul Reiser is coming back to...
We can't talk about TV.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
He's coming
Yeah.
back to screen.
Blocked. No TV.
No, that's good. Well, that's going to do it for us here on the Ticket Stub this week. And next week, I hope Connor'll be back. Do we know if he's going to be back?
Oh, I didn't know he was doing the show anymore. I thought he quit.
Oh, he might have. I don't know. He might have.
Hey, Connor, if you're listening, update us because you don't speak to us anymore.
He never calls. He never writes.
Never calls, never writes.
No. Well, that's
he
gonna
tried
do
to do a coup. He's trying to get us to change the TV. I was like, dude, maybe that's why he's not coming back. Maybe getting married makes him watch more TV than movies.
It probably does.
Is that what happens? It hasn't happened to me. The only thing I have to watch is like horrible movies now. That's the only thing, and I'm okay with that. I love horrible movies. Right?
Yes. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. We'll see you next
All right,
week.
this is a great closeout.
I know. Well,
you want me to do it?
I don't know. Yeah,
hey,
go
this
ahead.
This is the Ticket Stub. You've been listening. This is episode 112. We'll be back next Thursday live on Facebook.com/theticketstub. Don't forget, we podcast every episode after the live broadcast on Google Play, iTunes. Subscribe now and make sure to give us a heads up on the how we're doing. You can contact us through our email address, theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com. We're also on social media on Twitter, Facebook, the Ticket Stub Podcast. And one thing that we kind of can't say on the air, but we do regularly for our listeners because we love you, Stubbies, is we give away 2 tickets to any Grand Am-Star every week. So if you're interested in winning those tickets, all you got to do is just direct message us your name, and you'll be entered. And we just kind of draw names every week, and we don't take your name out. We just kind of do it as a fun thing to say thank you to the listeners. So if you want to win tickets to any Am-Star Grand Theater, just message us, and you'll be entered into the drawing. You're listening to Ticket Stub. We'll be back next Thursday live at noon o'clock.
What up?
Sad.